Lights, camera, action. Welcome back to Flick Flash. The episodes The Good Father and Moving and provide as the foundation for Frasier's new life in Boston. The episodes not only establish the idea of the rest of the program and introduce new characters, but they also update viewers on what Frasier has been up to during the last 20 years. His experiences have really been a mixed bag of personal victories and setbacks. Additionally, they provide some updates on the state of the other Cranes since he left Settle 19 years ago. As a result, the pilot episodes of Paramount Plus's Frasier revival include a lengthy storyline. The results of Frasier's reboot Martin Crane has died. What happened to Martin Crane is one of the greatest questions surrounding the Frasier remake, and Paramount Plus doesn't waste any time in addressing it. The apparition of the Crane patriarch was long since ruled out due to John Mahoney's passing in 2018, which created a significant obstacle to the resurrection. The project honors the legacies of Mahoney and Martin in several ways, as Grammer, who stars in the program and also produces it, promised. Frasier attended his father's burial in Seattle before taking a flight to Boston. Daphne gave a statement during the service. Freddie didn't attend the magnificent service as a whole. The new Frasier confirms he and Charlotte split up. Frasier is welcomed by Alan Cornwall, a new character from the Frasier reboot, as he arrives in Boston. The two catch up, which gives the show permission to utilize the talk about Martin's burial as the beginning of an explanatory scene. However, the topic of Frasier and Charlotte's relationship eventually came up in their talk. Grammer's character claimed that Charlotte left him, but the show skipped over the shocking news, raising further concerns about the reasons for their breakup. This demonstrates that Frasier's huge love gesture to Charlotte when she moved to Chicago in the end of the original episode was successful. Unfortunately, not long enough for him to experience true happiness. Chicago's Frasier was a popular TV show host. In the penultimate episode of the original series, Frasier accepted a lucrative job offer to host a TV program in San Francisco despite being well liked on the radio and having a secure financial situation in Seattle. He abandoned all of it, though, since he was a hopeless romantic and decided to follow Charlotte to Seattle because he thought she was the one. Although they finally broke up, Frasier was able to snag the girl and a comparable TV job in Chicago, presenting his own program. Frasier stated in the reboot pilot that it was once again time to depart, repeating what appears to be a trend in his life. As a result, he left. Freddie leaves Harvard to work as a firefighter. The main tension in the new Frasier focuses around the tense bond between Frasier and his son, Freddie. Because the two had a terrific chemistry on the former program, this would be intriguing to watchers of it. Evidently, Freddie's choice to leave Harvard despite performing so well in his studies is what caused their disagreement. The young Crane says he never truly felt like he belonged in the facility. Although he struggles to understand his choice, Frasier appears to be in favor of it. But it's reasonable to anticipate that this problem will come up again and again throughout the rest of the season. Frasier accepts a position teaching at Harvard. Frasier doesn't intend to stop in Boston after Martin's funeral. He only agrees to do this as Alan had previously requested him to give a guest lecture in his Harvard class, which he had done. Following the conclusion of his successful class, Olivia, the director of the psychology department at the Ivy League institution, extends an employment offer to him. Frasier abandons his travel plans to Paris in order to mend his strained connection with his adult son, Freddie, and returns to Boston to work as Alan's Harvard co-lecturer. Freddie said that his father had died. There are benefits to being the successful TV host's son, but there are also drawbacks, and Freddie just didn't want to cope with those. So, taking a cue from his father, he informed everyone that his father had passed away. Normally, this would have greatly hurt any father, but given that Frasier previously asserted that Martin was dead while he was at Cheers, he lacks the moral authority to chastise his son. The truth ultimately comes out when Frasier and Freddie cross paths in Mahoney's, the new pub from the Frasier reboot. Freddie moves in with Frasier after Frasier buys the flat next to him. In the reboot, Frasier has over 20 years in Chicago and is now very affluent. His ability to quickly locate an apartment in Boston that is next to Freddie's is evidence of his wealth. Frasier, however, decides to buy the entire block rather than just one apartment in order to force his son to move in with him. It's pretty ironic that Frasier is pushing Freddie under the same conditions after having to reluctantly take his father 30 years ago. He could think that since it helped him and Martin sort out their differences, it will undoubtedly help Freddie as well. David, the son of Daphne and Niles, attends Harvard. Daphne, played by Jane Leeves, and Niles by David Hyde Pierce were both sent invitations to return, but both turned them down. This forced the Paramount Plus project to change the course of its plot, which led to Frasier returning to Boston. Given this, it's simple to defend their lack of participation. Despite this, David, the son of Niles and Daphne, appears as a member of the Crane Moon family in the new Frasier. He takes Frasier's flight into Boston in the pilot. One of Alan's Harvard pupils is David, who attends the university. Given this, it is reasonable to assume that, like his parents in the first series, he will be a regular character in the next one. Thank you once again for being a part of Flick Flash. Until next time, keep watching, keep exploring, and keep that movie and TV magic alive. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and stay tuned for more exciting recaps. This is Flick Flash, signing off.